In this episode of the UX Tea Break, I discuss senior users, and it's not what you think. I was asked this question on LinkedIn by John Knight. John asked, what would you call someone who's made a user representative in a project? For example, user lead, advocate, champion. Now, I know that John was after a 1 or 2 word answer, so I gave him one. My term for someone who's made a user representative in a project is an obstacle. I thought I'd now spend 5 minutes explaining why. So I first came across this concept of a user lead years ago working on a project for a government department. They used a project management methodology known as Prince 2. This was before the days of Agile. In fact, Prince 2 is about as far as you can get from an Agile way of working. The main thing I remember about my first day on the project was that I was handed a very thick Prince 2 manual and given a date to attend an accredited training course. It was very procedural. So later that day, I had a meeting with someone known as the senior user. Senior user. Picture that person in your head. I was expecting someone with half-moon spectacles and grey hair, and obviously it would be a user. It turned out that none of my assumptions was correct. Senior user, it turns out, is a Prince 2 project management role, like Scrum Master in Agile. This guy was a suited and booted management consultant. His job was to nail down the requirements for the project. He made it clear that there'd be no iterative design and development messing up the delivery schedule on his project. Despite the title, his role didn't have much to do with users. It was more about quality assurance. So, being naive, I asked him when I could visit some real users. "You don't need to do that," he said. "Users don't know what they want. I'll tell you what to design." So this person saw my role as creating wireframes to his specification. The wireframes would become part of a requirements document, and that would be used as a blueprint by the developers. I thought about using usability testing to force changes, but the senior user was one step ahead of me. The usability test, yes, there was one, but just one, was scheduled at the very end of the project, and since it was turned into a user acceptance test with users told where to click in the interface, it didn't find any serious problems. The system passed with flying colours. I'll be honest, it wasn't a project that ended up appearing on my CV. Now, on the plus side, the project was completed on the exact date specified in the project plan. Some of the requirements got renegotiated by the developers, but basically the final user interface did follow the specification fairly precisely. It was slow, it was clunky, it looked like something from the 1990s, but this was the 1990s, so it was okay. Everyone gave themselves a pat on the back because the focus of the project was on delivery, not on the user. It was a government project, and like most government projects back then, it cost a huge amount of money and it was a failure. But because the bureaucrats involved couldn't allow it to be a failure, users paid the price. They had to work longer days. The work was more stressful because they had to find manual workarounds to all the problems caused by the new system. And users needed to attend a 2-week training course in how to use this new software that was supposed to make them more efficient. I learned from that mistake. On projects I work on these days, I don't allow anyone to speak for the user, not the senior user, not the user lead, not the user advocate, not the user champion, and not the user researcher. Users speak for themselves. The user researcher is an amplifier, and I make sure that the volume is turned up nice and loud so everyone on the team gets to hear. So the short answer to John's question is that someone who is made a user representative in a project is called the senior user, but I prefer obstacle. Thanks for staying with me for the longer answer. If you found it useful, click on the notification bell icon so you hear about future videos. And if there's a question you'd like me to answer in a future video, please post it below.